All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining us here at Vision Golf. And yes, thank you to Business France again for inviting me to be a part of this event for the third time in a row. So I'm very happy to be back here and see this. Thank you, Espina. See this group continuing to grow and continuing to develop relations between the GCC and France. So just to introduce myself, my name is A.B. Sam Thomas. I'm the editor-in-chief of Inc. Arabia. Inc. is an American-born publication that focuses on business and entrepreneurship, and we represent the Middle East edition of the brand, and we call ourselves Inc. Arabia. We've been in the region since October 2023, and we report on everything relating to everything you need to know to grow and run a business is how we define ourselves. That's about it from me, and today I'm here to lead the session on agribusiness excellence, and again focusing on this relation between France and of course the GCC nations. I've got a great lineup of speakers, so I'm going to speak less from now on and get my speakers to speak. But just to kind of like start things off and get everyone in the mood, can I quickly get a rundown of the room? Can I ask like how many of you are French brands looking at the GCC as an opportunity? Just raise your hands. Okay. Good. Sorry, we have people on the panel as well. Let's talk about the other way around also, like Middle Eastern brands looking to take on French brands. Anybody? Okay, little less number, but fine. Two on the panel too. There you go. Three. So you know who you're talking to, and speakers, you also know the audience in the room. Just to kick things off, I think it will be good if you can all introduce yourselves. Just a quick introduction. I want to say stick it to 1 minute, but also talk about relating to this particular session, like in terms of the French innovations. Are you looking for French innovations? Are you offering French innovations? And yeah, include that in your introductions in that 1 minute space I've given you. Bahi, I'll start with you. Please go ahead. Yeah, it's switched on.
So my name is Bahi Azza Jafar. I'm the Deputy Chairman, Deputy CEO of KDD. KDD is a leading dairy company in Kuwait, established back in 1962. It's still a privately held company, and it's been operating from a large plant in Kuwait. We produce around 270 different kind of dairy, juice, ice cream, and culinary products, all made in Kuwait. And I'm here more to look for opportunities, not only to have French companies come to our region and bring with them new innovation ideas, knowing that Kuwait has a totally different climate, and at the same time use the platform here to look for potential companies who would be interested in our products and bringing them to this part of the world. So I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for having me on the panel.
Thanks, Baya. Hassan, same question. Just introduce yourself and yeah.
So I'm Hassan Halawi, the CEO of Elite Agritech. Elite Agro as a holding is one of the biggest local producers in the UAE, and we're present in several other countries in East Africa, in East Europe and Africa. Being in this challenging industry, we're always looking for innovation. We're always looking for disruptors to help us mitigate all the risks that are in our daily lives that challenge our business. So we have open arm policy. We believe that the food systems all over in the world needs to be worked on and changed to meet the challenges that are facing us. To do that, we need partnerships. We need to always adopt new technology. We need to invest, seek technologies, share knowledge so that we can really mitigate all these risks that are mitigating not only our business, as society as a whole. No food, you know what will happen. So that's why we're here. We appreciate Business France for this meeting. It's my second participation here, and I look forward to connect with great French companies. We have Eri France here. Look forward to work with. There's a lot of partners, Richel. So we have already established partners in France that we work with, and we look forward to grow that partnership.
Well, thanks, Hassan. Philippe, over to you, who has one of the best company names I've come across in a long while.
Yeah, sure. So hello, I'm Philippe Mauberna, CFO of Standing Ovation, which is a Paris-based protein company. At Standing Ovation, we are transforming the precision fermentation into a sustainable and a more high-quality opportunity, meaning that we are producing non-animal proteins, including the casein, which is a milk protein. And we are offering some new functionalities and new application for customers. We are also accelerating the food sovereignty for the countries facing the protein gap to come. And also, we are accelerating the CO2 mitigations and the optimizing water management. What we consider that our technology could help the GCC area to accelerate food transition, utilizing some our proteins, and we could do that, of course, by a partnership locally to make sure that we can offer the best, even that could be produced locally.
Thanks, Philippe. Katina, please.
Hello, my name is Katina Arayan. I'm the CEO of Kingdom Consult. We are a Qatari-based company, boutique consultancy. We are specialized in sustainability and circular economy. Allow me first to thank Business France, the French Embassy. Thank you all for hosting me today. So we are very specialized in sustainability, and what we do also, we offer holistic approach to our clients, whether on public sector or private sector. What we do also, we partner up with the new technologies and we adopt patent and intellectual property that are specialized in renewable energy or recycling, carbon, or even water recycling. This is a unique approach that we are presenting in the Middle East. And of course, we look for green investors, we call them, for our mega pilot projects. And of course, we look to partner up with the French innovations and the high tech to bring them to the Middle East. Thanks, Katina. Last but not least, Mustafa.
Thank you very much for invitation, and I'm happy to be sponsor of the event for the third time in a row. So thank you for your trust. I'm the owner of France-GCC, a company that was created a decade ago. And my goal when setting this company was to be a bridge between French companies and Gulf actors who would have interest in some either French raw material or finished products, but they don't necessarily know how to deal with these countries. So I represent a couple of French brands. Some of them are in the lobby if you want to test a couple of very good things. I have also brought a couple. I will mainly focus on how the French touch is still really important for the Gulf actors, mainly in the food service. We've been dealing with the GCC for now a decade, with retailers, food service, and mainly catering companies.
Mustafa, will come to your brands later, and yeah, if you haven't tried the macarons and cheeses downstairs, I highly recommend it. So we've now heard from everyone on the panel. You've seen how they, represent different areas of sectors across the value chain, and I kind of now want to kind of set the scene in terms of what is happening in the region. And Bahi, I want to start up with you, given the experience you have at KDD and what you've seen in the region across the last couple of years. We are talking a lot about food security. We're talking a lot about climate resilient innovations. Where does a French solution fall into that landscape, so to speak? And what are the strongest opportunities available for these kind of collaborations?
Thank you. So I'll take both questions, and I'll start with the first one. Many of you would know that since COVID, most GCC countries have developed a vision to build on their country's food security. And they've done that through a standalone entity, mainly which is overseen by the highest authority. Usually it goes as high as that. And I know that these entities reach out to various solutions. They look at various countries that would help them in different kind of solutions. Some of the solutions would be to innovate within the country when possible, obviously due to the climate. I mean, it's 51 degrees yesterday when we left Kuwait. So not all the solutions that are built up in France or Europe or the rest of the world would work out for Kuwait or the rest of the Gulf. But also in investment opportunities outside the GCC, mainly in France or other countries. So if I take really the example of KDD, for example, I mean, we've been in the market for 63 years by December this year. We value France, not because it's my first language, but because the embassy in the French embassy in Kuwait has played really a major role in assisting companies like us in finding solutions to the problems. So for Kuwait, and I'm sure other countries are different, we're a tiny country and we always look for innovative solutions. And France has indeed been really a very, very good source of innovation, development, and new products for us. On the second part of your questions, what are the strongest opportunities for long term? So I think there are huge opportunities, and I've seen a very, very big change in Kuwait. There is one, from the cultural side, there is one French school, a French lycée in Kuwait. But of course, what we have experienced from the food business is Kuwait and the rest of the GCC countries have the highest obesity and the highest diabetes patients in the world, not by number, but by percentage. It's always Qatar or Kuwait or Saudi. So what we have done ourselves is that we have created a scientific team to look at our products and to ensure that we could retransform them to become healthier, meaning using less sugar, added sugar, I mean, and not juices or concentrates. And this has been possible by working with international scientists, of which France was a part. We work with them internationally to check our products, and we actually created a new ice cream last year that has no sugar added. It has been tested over a period of 9 months by diabetes patients through the Dasman Diabetes Institute in Kuwait that is owned and managed by Kuwait Foundation for the Advancement of Science. And it was launched after 9 months of clinical testing done in the clinic with diabetes patients. And that was supervised actually by a French professor who does not live in Kuwait, but who was sought to supervise this whole initiative. And the products were launched in May of last year. And what this does is that all diabetes patients, or those looking, to keep healthy, could eat that ice cream and not feel bad about their gut or about themselves, because their diabetes insulin does not increase. On the contrary, it remains stable or it decreases. And this is scientifically researched. So what is important here, what I think for French companies, is really in terms of development, innovation, and they're very strong at it. They're really very strong at it.
Thanks, Maya. I think you've started setting the stage, so to speak, again, about where are these collaborations happening. Hassan, you run an agri-tech business on the ground in the UAE. Again, where do you see the gaps in terms of growing it, building it, developing it, and how could French solutions potentially fill that gap?
I'll pick up from the gut health part. So since we're at it, so we established 2 years ago the first organic wheat farm in the UAE. And, growing wheat in our part of the world is really not commercially viable. However, once we start, what we notice is that consumers are willing to pay the extra for their health, because if you compare it to how much you pay for probiotics to get the right health, so they're happy to do that. So and I believe that with France is home for some of the biggest seed companies in the world, and this is an area where we should focus on to start doing research more towards our area. and to produce seeds that are catered for our requirements in terms of more salt-tolerant varieties, they can tolerate more heat stress, that are early maturity, so that we shorten our growing season, and that way we can avoid the heat and using more water. So that's one area that is very, very important that I believe there should be collaboration on. There's also the technologies that we get regarding the greenhouses and the controlled environment agriculture, doing them in an efficient way, the closed environment or semi-closed environment that also helps us in saving water. Of course, I will leave Philippe to talk more about it, but precision fermentation, I believe it is a savior for our part of the world. We were discussing earlier that to decrease the shortage of milk, we went and we invested into large dairy farms. So we have the cows now, but we can't grow the feed to feed. So what did we do? So precision fermentation is another technology that I believe will salvage not just our area in particular, but not just our area, because the conversion rate of food to an actual product to create a protein is much lower than to have it the natural way. And this is very important. We are now capable of producing a lot of vegetables. We are capable of producing a lot of products. We have more than 140 SKUs in our portfolio. But when we come to mass production, what that is required in terms of food staples, we're still not there yet. And this is where we rely on partners, research institutes, technology providers to help us get to this. This does not need to be only in terms of agricultural production. This needs also to be in terms of desalination, efficiency of desalination, how to also reuse the water that's going to come out from desalination, and the circular economy of the agriculture, where we can always reuse what we are producing and the leftovers, so we can consume it with livestock or animal production, so we can increase the efficiency of our production cycles.
I think it's great that you mentioned it, because again, entrepreneurs or like business, they always focus on one thing, but you can look at the entire value chain and see where you can provide
absolutely
value.
It is linked. You cannot take one item out of it. It is a chain. This is a food chain, and you cannot take one item out of it. You need the production, you need the water, you need sanity, you need to also know the impact of that. One of the main problems that also will work in the favor of precision fermentation is that today we are not paying the true price of our food we're eating. So if you want to add to the steak that you're having, the carbon footprint that you have from raising the cattle and going into it and moving the feed to grow it, and the monocropping cycle that we have so that we can maintain our cattle industry, that price will be almost 100 times more. So we cannot dissect or remove elements of the food chain and say we're going to focus on that one in particular. You have to have the overall view in order to achieve sustainability, which in our part of the world you cannot overlook it, because we are already in the hottest part of the world. So imagine another 2 or 3 degrees increase in the coming 10 years. What will happen? So sustainability for us is not a luxury. Sustainability is essential for our livelihood.
I'll come back to sustainability in a bit with Katina, but Philippe, we've been talking about precision fermentation a lot. I think it's great advertising for your brand, to be fair. But maybe, again, just can you walk through that technology and your particular offering, and how you're actually planning, or have you already considered entering the GCC, and how are you planning to make it work for your business?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, precision fermentation is widely used. In fact, it's quite... sorry. Yeah, excuse me. It's a quite it's a quite old technology.
Yeah. I'll let him catch his breath for a minute. Katina, let's focus on the sustainability aspect that we are talking about.
I just want to thank Hassan for mentioning on sustainability, and also Bahia talking about organic. So we recently, last year, we introduced very advanced technology on biogas and biomethanol from recycling the waste of the organic waste, which is the food, the expiry dairy, all the farming waste, all the vegetation. This is a very nationwide solution, which actually, like Hassan mentioned, it's a circularity. So we are tackling into circularity. It's not a luxury anymore. This is very essential. One is for self-sufficiency, so it's an alternative energy that can bring to the businesses a lot of money saving. Two is to have higher quality of product and 100% organic, because when you are recycling the organic food or the organic waste, you are receiving compost that is 100% organic. You are also receiving your own, which you can reuse actually in the farming. You can use as a fertilizer or as a compost. So this kind of technology that we are introducing is actually offering the food chain an optimization and a high quality of product. That's on one. Two, of course, saving the energy is very important, and reducing the carbon emission, which is very, very essential from now on. And of course, it gives another revenue stream, like when we introduce the biomethanol production for the farmers. This is a 100% revenue stream for the farmer, that the farms now can make money out of their waste. They're not ending up of, it's a big problem, because today we think the waste is a problem. For us, we call it the black gold, so it's a money-making machine. And plus, we are taking care of the environment. Also, we are taking care of the health, because we are avoiding pesticide, we are avoiding chemicals, we are avoiding all kinds of synthetic proteins. So this is part of the, and I am very happy today that farmers and owners of food chain understands that and put it in value, because we've been talking about sustainability for the past 10 years, and let me tell you, it was a happy struggle, let me say. But we day after day, we see that people are really engaging more on that. And on the French collaboration, of course, what KK does, so we adopt new technologies, new innovation. We also adopt incubative pilot tests based on green technology and recycling. And I think our first collaboration is going to be with Philip.
Thank you.
Now I'll let you explain.
No, thanks. Thanks. No, about, first of all, precision fermentation. It's quite a common industry approach we're using for the past 40 years, including to produce insulin, for example. The difference we have is about the downstream process, and it's where our strength is. It's fully patented, and it's what allows us to provide and to fill a fermenter in one day and to produce our proteins. The good thing, and what has been said by Katina, is that also we can valorize effluents coming from the industry, and what goes normally to the river, we can buy it, and we can add this product as a additional strength for the protein fabrication. Now we say that our aim is to fill two fields, we could say. First is nutrition, of course, and so it's to bring new functionalities in the beginning, because ultimately we would like to reach the cost parity, but it takes a bit of volume and time, and we are here to be a complement to the dairy industry, not to replace farming, of course. The point is to to produce some and offer some opportunities in new products like high protein that we cannot have yet in plant-based, for example. Having new functionalities in ice cream that could be foaming milk as well. Even in the vegan market. I mean, we are doing in our lab in Paris a vegan Dubai chocolate, for example. So it works. And the second approach, of course, because it's our DNA, is the sustainability. So by using precision fermentation, as you said, I mean, there is less water. When you buy a cheese, you buy 1,000 times its weight in water. You buy a river, basically. So we don't use water barely. We don't use land. So our LCA is extremely high, and it's an opportunity, we think, for countries, but even in countries which are under water scarcity, to ensure there is the food sovereignty, there is good product, and in the meantime, we save the planet. We don't have CO2 or very few. We don't have a waste of water, and we do it in a cooperation and collaboration with the local dairy producer. So that's how we want to get in the ecosystem. And finally, for the GCC. Our first approach could be to sell some dry product, and I know that it's done with you with the milk, so we can do the same because we need because of our LCA approach. We want to make sure that precision fermentation in GCC will be very much efficient in water consumption. So we know. There is Topian in Saudi Arabia which work on that. It may take a couple of years, but ultimately we could partner and having a transfer of technology and produce locally, of course. So that could be a two-step approach.
Thanks, Philippe. Mustafa, again, you've been bringing French origin projects to the Gulf for, I would say, like the last 10 years, maybe more than that now. Can you talk about how you made it work from your personal perspective? How have you done collaborations with chefs? How do you get that interest in the region for these products, and what has been the strategy, or what have been the do's and don'ts, so to speak?
Okay, I think that we are complementary to what is done locally. Basically, you do dairy products, but definitely I think that's going to be hard for you to do French camembert or French brie cheese. So the idea is not to be one against one another, but to try to be complementary. Especially when we deal with chefs, which has been the case for me for now a decade. They will have to find some very typical products, especially when it comes to, for instance, dairy or chocolate or tea or pastry. Definitely, very often we are asked to bring some things that are typical from France. And we also have, and this is one thing I was told, it was 6 years ago, and we visited the chef it was in Jeddah hotel, and the chef was a French guy, and he said that he has to reduce sugar, what you said before, because of diabetes. So the idea is not only to propose already, products as they are sold in France, but try to adapt. I will show you later a couple of things that we can do, not to remove totally sugar, especially for pastry. It's going to be hard. Otherwise, it's going to be tasteless. But to try to find an approach that will bring less sugar, less preservative, less artificial colors, in order to be safe, and but with trying to keep always the same standards in terms of taste and quality. This is the first thing, and the second is to try to also adapt some French specialties to local palates. And I will tell you later one or two things. Maybe I can do it now? Okay. Okay, yes. Okay, just I've brought here, actually, back to 2019 when we visited this chef with Chef Franck Deville. I don't know if he's here or not. He was there, and he saw that, for instance, we brought French macarons and people tasted and they loved and blah, blah. And he said, look, everyone eats here za'atar croissant or many things with za'atar. So he decided to set up a za'atar macaron which has been booming now in the Gulf. This is one of the first thing. We also, regarding what you said for sugar, we were asked by a French chef in Abu Dhabi, who is a baker chef. He told us, okay, I want to try to reduce sugar. Do you have a solution? And this is not innovation, by the way. This is back to old tradition. And the beekeepers, he said, just use some chestnut honey, and you will see the difference. You will lower the sugar. You will give a better aspect in terms of preservatives. It's a natural one, and there are many, many benefits. Of course, it's a little bit more expensive than the refined sugar, but it doesn't kill the cost because we just put a very small quantity and it's effective. And also, I brought there a couple of items from my friend that are downstairs as well. Because it's interesting. For instance, if you take chocolate truffles, I know they have been trying to adapt some chocolate truffles, putting dates or za'atar to try to still always try to adapt to the palate. And I also remember one of the challenges of Chef Fabrice, who he managed Alain Ducasse restaurant in Qatar. And his main challenge is to say, okay, I am a Michelin star restaurant, but I have to find the solution to bring French items, complying with logistics, with language, with legislation, in small quantities, especially for Doha, that is a smaller market than others, and this is also part of the challenge. And this is why, for instance, you have here a box of tea that was set up by Kousmiti, you know, the brand, and who was designed especially for Alain Ducasse. And typically, this is the kind of item that will find the place in some high-ending restaurants.
Mustafa has touched upon a very important point. It's one thing to have an offering built here, but you also need to cater to the market. If you don't do that, you're already playing a losing game. I think we are about to run out of time. Actually, if anyone has any questions, just raise your hand. I'll try and get a mic to you in the next 5 or 10 minutes. But I kind of want to now wrap up this discussion, but also talk about, again, all of you have shared a specific viewpoint about how companies can enter the GCC and make it work. So yeah, I'm going to go around the panel. Can each of you share one or at least one thing that you expect French businesses to have or to do before they enter the GCC market? And Bahi, I'm going to start with you.
So, je ne sais pas combien de personnes parlent français ici. I don't know how many people. Okay. And I'd rather say it in French rather than English because I want to be diplomatic. We deal a lot with French companies and they come to Kuwait. Mais on a un problème avec la langue parce que beaucoup de techniciens qui viennent de France ne parlent pas anglais. Donc on a toujours besoin de quelqu'un pour traduire du français à l'anglais. Je peux faire ça, mais je n'ai pas étudié la technique, donc c'est toujours difficile. Ou alors, il faut vraiment aller à l'ambassade pour trouver quelqu'un qui puisse traduire ce qu'on est en train de faire. Donc, pour tous ceux qui veulent venir au Golfe, vous savez, moi, j'ai été éduquée au Liban, donc je parle français comme une première langue. Mais dans les pays du Golfe, ils parlent anglais avant de parler français, bien qu'il y ait maintenant des lycées partout. Mais c'est encore, on a encore besoin d'un peu de temps pour avoir une population qui parle français aussi bien que les Français. Donc j'espère que je suis un peu plus diplomatique, que j'espère que ça ne va pas être un très grand problème pour les compagnies qui pensent venir dans les pays du Golfe. Merci.
I mean, just because of the reaction, you touched upon an actual point there. Cool. Hassan, go ahead. Yeah.
I think it's local presence is very important and knowing the local context. This doesn't just apply for French companies. I see this a lot from international companies. When you do come in with a technology that's well tested in your own environment, it does not mean that it will work in our environment. So we have a lot of early adopters of technologies, and we go around and see a lot of projects that are failed from year one due to the same. So it's very important to have local presence. It brings you closer to the ground to understand the real challenges that we face so that you can cater your good solution to the already given that we have. And one more thing is very important. I'm going to tell it to Katina. We talk about sustainability a lot, and the key for sustainability to succeed is for sustainability to become profitable. If sustainability doesn't become profitable, no one will adopt sustainability. So this is just something very important. I feel that we have to raise it up, and we should always cater our solutions with that in mind.
Hassan, you mentioned a local presence, and I'm going to ask this for the people in the room, because many have come to me asking this. Like, they always ask, like, does this mean partnership with the local player? And if so, what should that partnership look like?
It doesn't need to be partnership with the local player, but it helps. It helps, or you can also establish your own presence. GCC is a huge market now, and it is worth having the local presence. If you're established there and you're not getting business, then you have a bigger issue than the cost of having that office there.
Philippe, over to you. Yeah. Advice for French brands looking at the GCC.
Well, for us, I think the first approach is to understand the ecosystem locally with whom we could work, we could partner. It's also to know really what are the consumer needs and wishes and tastes, because our versatile product could cover a lot of things. But I think it's I like what you say. It has to be profitable, and I mean a business has to go day one as a success, not quite too long. And I believe it can, with some preparation, we can work. And ultimately, is to find the right also funding, because we still need some money. And being funded to either start to export the product and then to implement it locally requires some money from investors in the beginning.
Thanks, Philippe. You're currently racing, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes.
Well, maybe you can just mention that too.
We're on a Series B, which is quite well advanced, but there is still some room for opportunistic investors. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Philippe. Katina, we've already talked about it, and I completely agree. We shouldn't think of it as like a nice to-do thing. Sustainability has to be profitable. But yeah, so I would love to hear your advice.
Yeah, so for us at KK, we like to always partner through official channels. We have a very close relationship with the diplomatic circle, so we hunt our all patent and intellectual property through the embassies, because we stress on the bilateral relationship between the two countries, whether Qatar, France. We are also based in Greece, so we do also Greece, France. It's very important for us, because we put both of us in a context of reliability. When, of course, getting in touch with the local partners, it doesn't have to, partnership can be on a different concept and formulas. But of course, having the know-how of the market can save a lot of time and money to the newcomers to the country. We also help incubators like Philip to raise green funds, or we call them the green bonds. So we are also on a hunt of investors in a private equity, so we do that. Yeah.
Thanks. Mustafa, last but not the least, any advice you would give French brands looking to enter the market just like you have?
It was already mentioned before, but basically learn English first. It helps, not only that, but also to have, having a global approach on the GCC is right, but one of the biggest mistakes that is often done is to consider that the GCC is only one market. Each country is very specific, and each country has its own legislations, it has own, customers. Tourism in Saudi Arabia has nothing to do with the tourism in Dubai, and challenges are not the same. Logistic difficulties are not the same. You will face some challenges in probably registering your food at Baladia in Dubai, which you will not in Kuwait or with other SFDA. So my point here is to be really, go country per country and taking the time. I know that this is a bad word when you say to companies to take the time, but this is something that is imperative, and not expect an ROI for next week. It takes time to build strong relationship. You have to move. Basically, this is one thing that we are often, reproached is that French people, they rarely go to Gulf countries to meet their partners and to understand the markets.
Thanks, Mustafa. Excellent point there. I think we should have talked about that in the beginning. Yeah, do not treat the region as a monolith. It's different markets, different regions. Questions, guys? If anybody has questions, yes, there is. Can I ask you to come to the front? I'll give you my mic.
My name is Naria Chiki. I'm sorry, my voice. I represent Dynamic Radio Dubai. I would like just to say any question, please. The Francophonie is very important for the Gulf country or not?
The what?
The Francophonie.
Francophonie.
Yes, it's very important or not for the country, the Gulf country. I'm sorry, my English is bad.
Sure, no.
I'm French.
Non, mais bien sûr, il n'y a pas de problème. Il n'y a pas de problème. No, the Francophonie is very, very important. Actually, just last month, Kuwait celebrated the month of the Francophonie. So we had the whole month of April, every single day, May. Every single day, we had something for the Francophonie in Kuwait. And I'm not sure about the other GCC members, but Kuwait is. Again, Kuwait, I think, is the first country that had the first relations with France. And that's, I think, 60 years ago. So that was also part of it, part of the celebrations this year, because it doesn't only involve France. It starts with France, so it's under the patronage of the Embassy of France, but all the African countries, Canada, even Brussels, all these French-speaking countries were part of it. And you can Google it on the Embassy of France. Francophonie is very important. There's only one lycée. But I can tell you, I am the first Kuwaiti citizen who finished her French baccalaureate in Kuwait in 1982. And it wasn't a lycée at the time, it was École Française de Kuwait. So Francophonie is very important, and I think there is now in Kuwait as well a circle for Sorbonne. So you have Kuwaiti students who graduated from the Sorbonne, and they have a circle in Kuwait as well. So more and more Kuwaitis go to French schools as well. Welcome. Yeah,
I can talk about Qatar and Greece. I mean, in Greece, in Athens, we have a Franco-Hellenic lycée, is top 10 in the world. In Qatar, actually, we have many lycées. We have many artists like Jean Nouvel, who did the National Museum of Qatar. We have Alain Ducat. Donc, Qataris have a lot of investment here in France. So, I mean, Francophonie is very important and is at the forefront. And there's a lot of bilateral relationships and trading between those countries.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I have to close the discussion. Thank you to that question. I hope you got your answer. To our speakers, thank you so much for being a part of this session. And yes, we'll take one quick picture and then we'll part ways.
Thank you. Thank you very much.